Well, as we're all aware that the sugar industry is facing some significant environmental issues as well as productivity issues. And what we try to achieve in the work that we've done is to start trying to better manage paddock variability. And the reason for this is that around about 30% in the central region, 30% of paddocks have significant variability in both soil properties and yield. In some instances, we get up to 30 tons, greater than 30 tons per hectare difference within a relatively small paddock. So using a precision ag approach, we think that the template to develop a long-term pathway to improve productivity and also address environmental issues is to make use of a precision ag approach on how we manage the variability that we have within our paddocks. And to do that, we've accessed three key GIS mapping layers. The first one being fine-scale soil survey mapping system, which is EC or EM mapping data, and also using process satellite imagery as well as digital elevation mapping layers. By utilizing those mapping layers, we're able to use those patterns to direct where we should be doing soil testing and interrogation of these different patterns to actually determine what the constraints to yield are in particular defined zones. And I think there's been a large push to actually just say, let's reduce nitrogen for environmental reasons, where I think our approach is saying, let's identify what these constraints are and try and mitigate these constraints. And in the event that we can't mitigate constraints or it becomes uneconomical, then there is the potential then using variable rate application to reduce N rates without a productivity loss. I think this ticks the boxes with both environmental and productivity issues. I think it's a fairly complex system, and I think perhaps that's why some operators are fairly nervous about it. But in reality, it's quite simple. If you know where to look, you know how to manage. And these mapping layers tell you or direct you very closely or very accurately on where to investigate constraints to yield growth. So I think rather than perhaps just look at an overall dropping of nitrogen rates for environmental reasons, let's look at seeing what the constraints to the uptake of nitrogen and things like phosphorus are, and then determine if we can fix those constraints or not. To me, that provides a basis for continuous improvement within the sugar industry, and perhaps without just looking at one aspect of it in isolation. The one thing I think that precision ag does do, it makes you consider all the variables. And when you take these into consideration, you start developing a hierarchy of issues that might be affecting yield in a particular part of the paddock. So I see that as the way forward. Will it happen overnight? No, I suspect not. But I think it provides a good template for both research and practical agronomy to address the issues that are facing this industry.